I know this is a little unique, and not just the backdrop and where I'm headed, but obviously this is a different time for us right now, trying to get out on the road. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to say thank you. Obviously, to represent the University of Wisconsin, and more than anything, just have this experience for our guys. And it's going to be unique in the sense of how it's going to be coached. I'm sure you'll ask all kinds of questions. I probably won't have a whole bunch of answers. But nonetheless, this is what college football is about. The opportunity for these guys to, have a chance to play in a bowl game, is what you work for. And I know that, some of that gets lost in today's day and age with the playoffs and national championships. And that. Nonetheless, there's an incredible amount of work that's done, not just by the players, but the staff. And most importantly, these games are rewards. The rewards to go play a game, to compete against a great opponent. But more than anything, a reward for everybody for all that they've put in and all the work that they've done.
Thank you, Luke. Our first question will be from Jesse Temple from The Athletic. Jesse, you're on.
Hi, Luke.
How are you doing, Jesse?
I had a couple questions for you. I don't know how much clarity you can provide about the staff, but first, what level of involvement will you have in coaching the bowl game? And second, you mentioned that you plan to talk to Jim Leonhard again Wednesday about the future. Is he going to be on your staff next season? And if so, in what capacity? Thank you.
Again, a lot of those things we don't have answers for. I'll give you a brief synopsis, but we don't know exactly where the future of our staff looks just right now. It's really kind of difficult time trying to piece all these things together. But and I couldn't tell you exactly what role. I mean, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be a part of the staff to coach the game. I envision myself being the head coach, but if that means I'm, coaching the punters, I'm coaching the kickers, I don't know. I just want to be around the guys. I know this is maybe not been done before, maybe unique, and a new coach in some ways coaching the bowl game. But I think it's really important. I think it's important for us. I think it's important for us to move forward. For me to be around these guys with all the options that these guys have nowadays, and just in the chance to leave if necessary, or if they believe it's best. There's only one way to keep guys. And it's only one way to build a program, and it starts with relationships. And the next 3 weeks is the best time for me to really start building these relationships with these guys.
Thank you, Coach. We'll go with Colton Bartholomew. Colton.
Yeah, Luke, kind of following up what Jesse asked there, but you mentioned you were going to speak with Jim on Wednesday. Did you make a formal offer to Jim to be on your staff? And if so, did you give him a specific role at that point?
I definitely opened the door for Jim to be here. And that's, he's kind of really trying to weigh the options. And it's not options of whether he wants to coach or not, or whether it's not he wants to be at Wisconsin. It's just, I think, in the future of where he wants to go. So there's a lot of things are open. Actually, it's kind of unique because I was in a very similar situation, I think, in 2011. So I might have a little bit more insight, and he's picked my brain and gone back and forth several times of what's going to be best, not just for him, but obviously for the program for the future. So it's not an easy decision. It's not one of those things that's cut and dry. And I did kind of leave it vague a little bit to say how we would do this and what the roles would be, because like he said, no matter what, if he's going to be all in, if this is the right thing for him, then he's going to full throttle ahead. Either way, we'll make it work, and we'll be best for all of us.
Thank you, Robert Allen from the Cowboy Radio Network. Robert.
Yeah, Coach Fickell, interesting scenario here. We were looking forward to Cincinnati joining the Big 12 Conference and seeing you on the opposing sideline in a lot of Big 12 stadiums. I guess Oklahoma State will get that opportunity in the bowl game. The rest of the Big 12 won't. Talk a little bit about meeting up with Oklahoma State, because that was going to look like a future conference rival for you in Cincy.
It was, and I can't say that I started doing a lot of homework on the rest of the Big 12, in the midst of what we were doing, and even looking forward, we knew that this past summer, it wasn't something that you could overlook the season and look forward to. But I had the good fortune of being in Oklahoma, I think, with the Thorpe Award last year, and just all the, it was Oklahoma State fans in particular, and the people that were, we were all kind of fired up to begin this new journey, and when we were going to venture or be into the Big 12. But things change. It's quite, it's a little bit unique how they change and how fast they change. But I know this, I've followed Oklahoma State from afar for quite a while. I know what Coach Gundy's done there. I know how well they've done. So this is going to be a fun matchup, and I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have any of your staffers from Cincinnati with you yet? Has that happened?
We've brought a few guys with us, but it's still a kind of a mix. We're trying to figure out how much they can do back there coaching the bowl game for Cincinnati. I don't think they will be around coaching anything here, just because the sheer fact I want to make this a really good experience for everybody involved. And I mean that with some of the things I learned from 2011, of what we went through at Ohio State when we kind of in a similar situation with the bowl game. So most importantly, I want this to be a great experience for the players, and to have a bunch of different people around that not knowing what their roles are and other guys watching you. I don't think it's the best thing for everybody involved. So we're going to do this thing with this staff, and we're going to make it best for everybody around. And I think that's what's best for us in the program as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Go with Jeff Petrikis from the Wisconsin Sentinel Journal, or Journal Sentinel. Sorry, I had it backwards there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Luke, you mentioned the next 3 weeks, and under normal circumstances, if you're not a new coach, you know what the team is like, you know the personnel. How much do you have to use the next 3 weeks, not just for relationships, but to get a grip on what you've got for next year and how you might have to use the portal to fill in some gaps, as you mentioned the other night?
I think it's a great point. I think, and that has a lot to do with, maybe the idea of, hey, why else I want to be around. And it's not just portal, it's also in recruiting. It's understanding and knowing what you got in there, and, the areas at which you need to, maybe load up. And it's easy to look at numbers, and it's easy to look at positions. We've all had a structure for those kinds of things, but, maybe the next 3 weeks you get a much better glimpse into where we are, what we need, what we've got. And then, there are options for that of adding some of those pieces, whether they're, from the portal or not, to fill in the gaps, because that's never been a really big emphasis for me in our programs. Is, I think there's a great culture here, and I always worry about if you add too many people that don't have 3, 4, 5 years to build the relationships here, that you can really kind of mess up some of the cultures and things that have been built. And that's what I think they've done a really good job here. So those things, it will be an interesting 3 weeks to kind of, for me to be able to assess and figure out some of those things along with the help of the guys around me.
We'll go to Jim Polson from the Wisconsin State Journal. Jim?
Hey, Luke, one more Jim Leonard question for you. Sorry. I just want to make sure.
All right.
I understand it clearly. Are you waiting for an answer from Jim? Is that fair to say? And when do you need an answer from him?
There's no rush. There's no timetable on this thing. I think when you rush things, you don't get things done the right way. And I think that, a lot of that has to do with, the comfortability with all of us. And, so there is no rush. And that's where, I think we've sat down three times or so to just kind of talk about philosophies and the different things that we have a chance to do. And, what other options are out there, because, he's had a million options, and he's got a lot of things that he could do. So I don't think that I know this, there's no rush on. I know that was one thing that might've been a little bit different from what we did in 2011, but also the timing was a lot different. I think that's what gives us the uniqueness that, we've got 3 weeks to do a lot of things, develop, get a game plan together, get these guys ready, for them to build some relationships, me to build some relationships, but also us to get to know each other as a staff as well.
Thanks. We'll go to Jake Kokorowski from the State Journal. Jake, how did I do with that?
Did great. That was very nicely done. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I would say, Luke, just with recruiting trail, we saw some pictures late last week of you getting out there within the state of Wisconsin. What's kind of the schedule that you have going on, starting from last week to now, and where you're trying to, go and who are you trying to visit during this time?
Well, obviously I got a lot to learn. Friday was the first day out, and I was out from about 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and really in Wisconsin, a little bit in Madison, and then obviously up in Milwaukee, and obviously seeing a lot of the guys that we already have committed, and then also seeing some of the younger guys. But it was a great opportunity for me to get to know a lot of people. You know, you could say it's all about recruiting, and it is, but it's about relationships and that recruiting as well. And there's one thing that I recognized even in the one day being out and recruiting. Obviously, that Friday of all the local high schools was the relationships they've had here with the university and the coaching staff. And there's deep roots, and it's very, very strong. And you know, so even a little bit selfish for me, I was out there getting to know some of these guys, learning a little bit more about the high school landscape here, because I got a couple kids that'll be joining into the Wisconsin high school football here in the near future as well. So it's a great opportunity for me. That's kind of what I've been doing. Headed to Chicago because that's been an unbelievable area for us as well. It's going to be a sprint for the next 2.5 weeks that we're allowed to be on the road recruiting back and forth, to be around the guys, you know, at the facility and the practices, but also to be on the road, you know, not just get recruiting guys, but building the relationships in particular inside our state.
Thank you. We'll go back to Jesse Temple from The Athletic. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jake.
Luke, Graham Mertz just announced he was entering the transfer portal. He was a 3-year starter here at quarterback. I don't know if you can share what type of conversations did you have with him about his future, and big picture, what do you want out of a quarterback here in the future? What kind of style are you looking for?
Lots of conversations with Graham. Actually, I just got off the phone not too long ago with him, and you know, had some conversations with his family as well. And you know, it's a tough situation, and he knows that. And you know, we want nothing more than the best for him. I obviously I can't tell you I know him, but I've met with him a few times, and encouraged him to stick around here and wait and see how the changes go. But you know, I think at some point in time, some of those guys feel like, you know, there's something that they need to do, and you know, so I don't want that. You know, that's not what I encouraged him to do, but I also respect that, and you know, now we've got to continue to move ourselves forward and all that we're doing. And you know, so does that open up some things for us? Yeah, I think that's another one of those unique things that we got an opportunity for this bowl practice to find out what we really got and have had behind him. And you know, that's what we'll do.
Colton Bartholomew, we'll go back to you for a follow-up question. Colton?
Yeah, Luke, I just want to clarify something you said a little bit earlier, that you wanted to keep the guys that were here to coach through this bowl game. So the assistants that led the team throughout the last 2 months here are going to be on the sideline for the bowl game?
Say that again. The coaches that have coached this year?
The coaches that have been here the last 2 months. I mean, outside of one that has already taken the job, but those guys are going to be the ones coaching the bowl game.
Yeah, and unless they obviously have moved on, I think that's what's best for the kids. You know, these guys love this place, and you know, to be able to get some closure. I know that's what's going to be hardest for me is not getting closure and finishing out with the guys I had at Cincinnati. And you know, right now our coaches and some of them that are here will
Gundy and
have a good chance to coach the bowl game back in Cincinnati. And I think that where this is a new world, you know, and it's maybe unprecedented in some of the things that's going on, I also think it's still what's best for the guys within your program. And the unique thing here is there's so many guys, not only players, but also coaches that have such deep roots here and want nothing more than to have some closure, finish this thing the right way, and make sure they do it with the kids.
All right, we'll follow up with one last question for Coach Fickell before we head into Coach Gundy, and that's from Jeff Petrikis. Jeff
Petrikis, no problem.
Petrikis, sorry.
I know this is early with Graham's decision or announcement just coming, but in general, you guys, if I remember correctly, got a commitment from one quarterback generally at Cincinnati in each class. Does this change the math for you about how many quarterbacks you might want to add in this class?
I think that roster management in the quarterback position completely changed in the last year and a half. And I've known that, and whether I was at Cincinnati or at Wisconsin, you're going to have a really, really good plan. Whether that means bringing in more than one guy, whether that means you're going to have to, you know, take some chances on some transfers. You just got to figure out at what level you want to do that. You know, do you want to take older guys? Do you want to take younger guys? Because our philosophy has always been to have younger guys that you can develop in the things that you do. And if you believe in your coaches and how they develop guys, you don't want to get stuck in that route of always taking older guys, because you really don't get that opportunity to develop them as much. The quarterback position has always been unique, but I think with where we are and what's, you know, out there today, it's becoming more and more difficult to keep a really deep room and really create a lot of that development. But, as a new guy in a new program, we're going to have to do what's best. We're going to have to do what's best for the program. I can tell you this, that competition is what we're going to have to focus on.
Thank you.
Coach Fickell, thank you very much. Drive safely. Congratulations on your new position at Wisconsin. We look forward to seeing you when you land here in the Valley of the Sun, as well as most of the folks from Wisconsin on the line. I'm sure we'll be welcome to get down here to Arizona, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
I just want to say congrats to Coach Gundy, too. And I know he does a heck of a job. I've watched and studied him from afar, and he has one heck of a program, and I look forward to competing with those guys.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.